The 2026 elections are a little less than a year away, and while midterms historically benefit the party not in the White House, some are warning next year's blue wave may be even stronger than the Democrats expect.
Democrats swept the November elections this year, and while they lost Tennessee's special House election earlier this month, the leftward swing in a deep red district has CNN pollster Harry Enton telling Republicans to, quote, run for the hills. Take a listen.
Excuse time for Republicans is over because I hear all about these special elections. Oh, the turnout's so low. It's not representative of what happened in the midterm election. The turnout last night in Tennessee's 7th District was equal to the turnout in the 2022 midterm election. We have seen the Democratic outperformance of Kamala Harris happening across the political map. What happened last night in Tennessee ain't just staying in Tennessee. It is spreading itself throughout the nation. As I said, to me, looking at these results, it looks like a blue wave is building.
And Enton wasn't the only one predicting a blue wave building in the wake of Tennessee's election. Pod Save America host Dan Pfeiffer wrote on X, Republicans will publicly breathe a sigh of relief, but a 13-point shift to the Democrats in a nationalized race with midterm-level turnout is absolutely terrible news for the Republicans and a big rebuke of Trump. Tennessee wasn't the only election this month that showed major gains for the Democrats.
Democrat Eileen Higgins won the Miami mayoral race runoff election by a whopping 19 points. That's a decisive victory in an area that hasn't elected a Democrat in nearly 30 years. Even Republicans seem antsy about these recent signs of Democrats gaining ground. One Republican lawmaker who spoke to Politico anonymously after the Tennessee election said, quote, tonight's a sign that 2026 is going to be an expletive of an election cycle. Republicans can survive if we play team and the Trump administration officials play smart, but neither is certain. And GOP leadership aide echoes that, saying it was too close. So how do Republicans play smart in the face of what seems to be a growing blue wave? Well, to provide some insight, we've brought in political analyst Sam Mirejovsky. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Gents, thanks to be good to be here with you guys.
So the alarm bells, the doom is being predicted. What say you? Are we in for as bad a time as Republicans as it's looking like?
Well, we still have 47 weeks to go. So, that's a political eternity. Certainly some of these recent developments, the Nashville race was probably closer than Republicans would have wanted. But one of the things that I find really disconcerting is that Republicans seem to be spending a lot of time fighting each other right now. Instead of getting an agenda passed. And I'll give you an example of this, and that's the Obamacare healthcare mess that we're in the midst of. If Republicans were to find a solution to healthcare prices, if they were to get an alternative across the finish line that undoes Obamacare, brings to market policies and brings down rates and coverage, pricing for American families, that'd be a huge step forward. But somehow they're not doing it. They're just fighting and grandstanding and defecting at a fast clip. So I think that's the part of it here that we have to see how it plays out. As we get closer to the primaries before the midterms.
And of course, Sam, the healthcare issue is part of this broader topic of affordability that we have heard so much about. Now, President Trump at times has described that term as a Democratic hoax, but I don't think there's any real doubt that, a lot of Americans are feeling the pressure of prices that have gone up in the past few years. How big a problem do you think that is as Republicans look into midterms, which are traditionally difficult for the party that holds the White House?
I think you're 100% right. I think this is a huge issue, and it's an opportunity for Republicans, right? So you have Obamacare that was passed essentially with only Democrat support. It has become a mess. It's clearly not delivering by any measure what it was intended to bring to the marketplace. And if Republicans came up with an alternative here and actually turned things around and made healthcare more affordable, well, that would be a winning issue to run on, and they've got plenty of time to do it. but they need to act, and simply extending subsidies at this point isn't going to be it, because that's going to disappoint Republican voters. Republican voters don't want to see more money, put out for Obamacare. They want to see a fix to this. So that's one thing I'm watching. A lot of Republicans I know are watching for this, and it would be nice to see Mike Johnson get together with Trump and the administration and make a plan.
Yeah, you mentioned infighting. It certainly feels like there's a lot of that right now on a couple different fronts. One front is, we're a web-based show, so I pay a lot of attention to what conservative media figures are saying, and there's just, a tremendous divide over foreign policy, a lot of acrimony about Turning Point USA right now and Tucker and all these personalities, and then also some real clashes, for instance, just in Congress, between Mike Johnson's leadership and members of the House. We hear a lot of dissatisfaction from Nancy Mace, from Marjorie Taylor Greene, opted to retire rather than continue fighting with the leadership. So it seems like the vibes are wrong on several levels for Republicans to generate enthusiasm to go out and elect. By the way, not Trump, even, his name's not going to be on the ballot, which is itself a huge problem now for Republicans, because they rely on a high salience kind of election where Trump's name is there. They're relying on voters who go vote for Trump, but maybe not down ballot care about what else the GOP has to offer.
Well, you nailed it right there with Trump not being on the ballot. Now, Trump isn't just a name, right? Trump is a unifying force, has been a unifying force in the party since he, sort of blew the party, to smithereens back in 2015, 2016, and has now become its undisputed leader. Trump is box office gold when it comes to Republicans, but he's not on the ballot. I don't know to what extent he's going to campaign for Republicans. I mean, there's a whole conversation about the individual, the quality of candidates on both sides. Right, that's a factor, but there's an opportunity here to nationalize the election, and for Democrats it's very easy. They're just opposed to Trump, so they've conditioned a certain number of people in the country to say, look, vote for us, and we're going to stop Trump, and that's a selling proposition. So what's the selling proposition for a Republican that loves Trump, but looks at Mike Johnson and what the congressional Republicans are doing and is just not impressed? Those people are not going to come out and vote for Republicans. Republicans are not going to come out for Republicans. And you played, Harry Enton right before I came on about talking about, the number of Republicans that are voting and showing up. It's not good. So something has to be done for the congressional brand, because you can win nationally off big ideas, and that's been demonstrated to us. Newt Gingrich and others have done it.
Sam, we have less than a minute left, but just quickly on that point about what the selling proposition is and Trump's absence from the ballot, do you think there's any case to be made to Republican voters to come out and vote for Republican congressional candidates to preserve majorities which would then prevent or stop investigations of either President Trump or people close to him if Democrats were to win the congressional majority?
100%. I talk about this every day on my radio show. I tell people, look, you don't want to vote for, okay, your congressman's a loser. Got it. But without, him or her there and a Republican in their place, you're going to end up with a monumental amount of investigations and stalling of Trump's agenda. And that's the agenda that you voted for, that you want to see happen. So a lot is riding on this. You're absolutely right.
Sam Mirejovsky, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Up next, why are we seeing so many faith-based films recently? We'll talk about that. Stay with us.